Tracey D. Syphax, born Asbury Park, New Jersey. Raised up in Trenton, New Jersey. First started out in Miller Homes, raised by a single parent. My only brother was accidentally killed in a truck accident over at Miller Homes. And when my brother was killed and hit by a truck, it gave me the first look into what a community can do if they united and came together. And even growing up, I got opportunity to see what a black business looked like and a black business owner looked like. Of course, I ended up going down the other road, started selling drugs at a young age. And as I'm growing older, I'm not only selling, I started using. I started using at the age of 16, and my only thing every day that I woke up was to make sure that I was never without my drug of choice. Now, I'm 18 years old with multiple drug charges. I was sentenced to 10-year indeterminate, sent to Yardville Youth Correction Facility in Yardville, New Jersey, to start my bid, and I'm staying at Yardville. But basically just jailed on my first bid. Fast forward to 1980, 82, 83, I ended up getting released from prison. I ended up getting a job when I first came home as a laborer for a roofing company. And so, life was pretty good then, but I still had that urge for the drug game. Me and my wife ended up getting pregnant in 1985 with my daughter. So I ended up getting married in 1985. So I figured, being married, that I would settle down. But it seemed like it just took off even further then. Did the right thing for about a year and a half, 2 years with the family, until the streets just kept on calling me. And so by 1986, 87, I was back on the block, quit my job, ended up starting a little front business called Capital City Roofing. And it was basically a front for me to run drugs up and down the New Jersey Turnpike. By 87, I was controlling about 3 parts of the city of Trenton and Heron, making about 9-10 grand a day, selling heroin and cocaine. Right around the end of 88, they ended up getting pulled over in Elizabeth, New Jersey, Union County. We ended up going to jail. And then I was done by then, because now I had drug charge, I had gun charge, and I had a previous record, and I violated my parole. Ended up being sentenced to a 4 with a 2. And now I'm doing my second bid. I'm starting to reflect on my life and all the stuff that I've done, all the stuff that I've been through. Like I said, I believe a lot of stuff happens in life are meant to happen for a reason. And I spent my whole year inside that cell just thinking about my life, thinking about, how far I had come, how far I had fell, thinking about my kids, my wife, my family. And down in Riverfront State Prison, I got involved with a program called the MIR program. And the MIR program taught African American studies, taught you all about Madam C.J. Walker, W.D. Du Bois, all our black heroes. So I had an epiphany of who I was and who I could be. So watching and learning about all these black African heroes, everybody from Malcolm X to Dr. King, and I started changing my mindset. And my way of thinking. Come October 1995, they had the Million Man March. I remember one of the things that Minister Farrakhan said was that in your community, if you couldn't find a job, your charge was to go back to your community and create a job. We have to start owning where we live. We have to start owning a piece of the community from where we live at. So when I came back from the Million Man March, I started my first business, Capital City Contracting Company, in 1995. First year I made 30-something thousand. Second year, 100-something thousand. Third year, I was into close to 400,000. 1998, 99, I had joined the Black Chamber of Commerce, which is basically all black businesses. And a lot of multi-millionaires are in that black business chamber. So I got the opportunity to rub elbows with a lot of different people that was doing some great things. And I hit my first million around early 2000. Once I hit my first million, I started buying property and started investing in real estate. So I ended up starting another company called the Syphax Group. Within about 3 or 4 years, I had amassed about maybe $4 million worth of property. And by then, my business had took off. I had won numerous awards as the Mayor's Small Business Award, and started being recognized in magazines on a national level like U.S. Biz. By 2008, 2009, I was running multi-million-dollar businesses. And in 2011, I was named Entrepeneur of the Year by the Princeton Chamber of Commerce. And that was a very special moment for me because of the fact that in the Princeton Chamber's 51-year existence, they had never, ever honored an African American as their businessman of the year, never. So I made history by becoming the first African American to win that award. But I think more importantly, as an ex-offender, it was a testimony of how far you can go down, but how far you can come up. I was nominated to serve on the Capital City Redevelopment Board. And the Capital City Redevelopment Board oversees millions of dollars in construction around the Capital District. Since then, fast forward to where I am now, I'm still running my businesses, still doing a lot of stuff that I've always done. Lo and behold, now I've been in business for 19 years. Part of my success and part of the things that I do is that I really believe that I have an obligation to give back to this community. I have an obligation to reach back and bring somebody up with me. I have an obligation to help people that's looking to go into business. And that's the reason why I've been a part of the Mind in Our Business program, because I get an opportunity to help young people understand the importance of owning and starting a business, a successful business. I'm the new chairman of that board. As you know, my new book just came out, From the Block to the Boardroom, last year. So I'm doing speaking engagements, doing book signings, talking about my book, and just basically, doing the things that I've always done and continue to do.
I just want to say real quick before I take my seat, 17 years of being in business, and being in business in Trenton, New Jersey, has its challenges. As I stated before, I grew up in Trenton, grew up in the projects, poor, single parent, and we had some very challenging times growing up as a child. But through it all, I really believe that God had His hand in it all. And He brought me through that just to put me where I am today. Not to be satisfied where I'm at today, but to continue to reach back to a community that's seriously needs to be encouraged and uplifted. And I thank God for that opportunity, and I'll continue to do that with the blessings of Him and my support from my family and my friends. I will continue to uplift and encourage my community.
What inspired me to put From the Block to the Boardroom out as my autobiography was basically I wanted to tell a story of my life story. I wanted to inspire a young gentleman that may be stuck in that lifestyle, maybe stuck on that corner that I was stuck on, maybe stuck into a gang that I was stuck in with. To know that no matter where you come from, no matter what you've done, you still have an opportunity to do some great things. And I thought writing From the Block to the Boardroom afforded me that opportunity, not only to look back and reflect on my life, but to also give something back and to give others insight into my life, to see the things that I've done growing up is not too much different from anybody else that grew up in the inner city with a single parent household, mother on drugs, father not around, to be able to still come from that and to be able to do something with your life. The message that I want people to grab from the book is there's a section of the book called The Blueprint. And the reason why, I could have told a bunch of war stories and left the book at that. But I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do was basically, yes, tell those stories, but number two is to give somebody a blueprint, a roadmap into what they can do as far as business and the things that they need to do in order to be successful in business. Research has to be involved, knowing your product, knowing your customer base, having a lawyer, having an accountant, having a bank account. All these things are important to run a successful business, and I wanted to give people that insight and that knowledge and share that knowledge that I've learned from being in business for 19 years.